Hello, and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Today, I will be doing a recap on Tia Mowry's My Next Act, Season 1, Episode 3, For the Love of Cairo. Everything I will discuss in this video will be in my very own opinion and used for entertainment purposes only. Now, let's get into it. So last week's episode left off with Tia's besties meeting with three potential blind dates for her. And at the end of meeting those three gentlemen, they were not happy with the results. They didn't feel like any of the guys were right for Tia. So then they have one potential date left. So he walks in, and the besties are hopeful that he might be the one. He was shocked that Tia wasn't there, but they told him that they needed to assess the situation before he meets Tia, and he was okay with that. So this potential date was 6'4", 37 years old. He wears a size 12 shoe, so he's looking very promising. Wink, wink. He loves kids. He's a referee for basketball, and his love language is words of affirmation. And he's big on that and wants for that to be reciprocated. And oh, he has a daughter. So that's a plus because she has two kids. So he's open to being a stepdad. He has great energy and he's easy on the eyes. So the besties agree he's a great fit for Tia. After sitting down with him, asking all the right questions, they are ready to set him up on a date with Tia. So when Tia heard the news, of course, her anxiety kicked in, but she got it together when her friend Natasha said, "If you don't want him, I will take him." Which I said before when I reviewed the last episode that these girls are choosing guys that they themselves are also attracted to. So I hope that that's not an issue later on. But when she said that, Tia got it together like, no, girl, you ain't finna take my date. So, her daughter Cairo is turning 6 years old. So it's time to start planning the party. Her daughter told her that she wanted to have a princess party. So she got to planning and everything was going well until she had she made the mistake of sharing the details with her daughter. And she told her that everything was lined up for her princess party. And then that's when her daughter totally flips the script and tells Tia that she wants a llama at her party. And Tia was like, for real? And it just looked like all of the breast was knocked out of Tia because she was, in the, party planning mode of planning a princess party. And then her daughter all of a sudden tells her that she wants a llama at her party. And I'm saying to myself, those are rich people problems. I can't relate to that. It's just like you said you wanted a princess party, and that's what I planned for you. So that's what it is. So it seems like Tia is creating a bit of a little monster because, her daughter is cute and all, but she seems to be a little spoiled. And I was kind of having flashbacks because that's what was done to my niece. And I was waving the red flags the entire time, like, oh my gosh, you're creating a monster. Needless to say, the monster was created, moving right along. So Tia's cousin Jerome calls her. And although, he's her cousin, he's also like her best friend. They are super close. And obviously, closer than her and her twin. He's someone she can vent to without judgment. He's her anchor. He's her therapist. And everybody needs a Jerome in their life. Okay. So Jerome is calling to let Tia know that he's coming to help her with Cairo's birthday party, and he's on the way. So even though her assistant had told Tia that she would help her with the party planning, she looked like a huge weight was lifted off of her shoulders when Jerome told her that he was coming to the birthday party. Plus, he had never met Cairo, so this would actually be his first time meeting Cairo. And there are people in your life that has a way of making everything seem better, So that's what Jerome seems to do for Tia. And those type of people, you have to keep them around. And I'm sure for some people, Tia getting emotional throughout every episode might be a turnoff. But for me, this is true reality TV and what it should look like, you know, in true reality TV fashion. So you telling your story, and that includes the good and the bad. So honestly, Tia being so open and raw is probably going to open up the door for more opportunities in the future. And I am really happy she decided to do this. And to think it's a big win for women who might find themselves in a similar situation. Society has pretty much encouraged women to stay in loveless, abusive, whether mental, financial, or physical, and toxic relationships. Women need to see more examples of strong women removing themselves from those type of relationships. And if you are a man watching my channel, this is no respect to you, but I am talking to the ladies right now. Okay. So this conversation is for the ladies. If you have a daughter, sister, or mother, I would hope that you would encourage her to do the same thing, remove herself from a toxic relationship. So this process could look totally different for someone else. Not everyone will have a village that consists of great supportive friends like Tia. So hopefully for them, they do have those type of people in their life. Hey, Linda Gamble, thank you so much for being here. But that's not going to be the same story for everyone. So Jerome showed up and Tia's face lit up like a Christmas tree. She asked Jerome what was he doing, and he said, living, drinking water, minding my business, and washing my face. Oh yes, aren't we all? Honey, that Seventh Avenue be Seventh Avenuing, honey. The skin is skinny. Okay. And at the end of the day, that's what we all should be doing. So Jerome meets Cairo for the first time. Cairo is super cute with that personality to match. I just hope that Tia doesn't spoil her rotten. So after Jerome and Cairo's introduction, Tia sent Cairo upstairs to play so that they could have some grown folks conversation. Hi, Bet You Know Now. Thank you so much for being here. So Jerome talked about healing being a journey, and it's not a sprint because one day you can feel like a king or queen of the world, and then the next day you don't want to get out of bed. And everybody has had that type of experience. Tia has them all the time, and so of course she could relate. With him recently losing his mom, Tia going through a divorce, they are both experiencing similar issues right now. They talked about having heart palpitations, which is usually associated with anxiety. And then Jerome slipped in the conversation that he had some medicine too. Tia lit up and she was like, "What medicine?" He said, "From the doctor." And he said he forgot what it was called. Tia said, "Medicine?" And he said, "Yeah, anxiety. Not too much." Now, this part was kind of funny. Even though it is a serious topic, it was just the way Tia lit up when Jerome started talking about the medication. Tia asked him if it was Xanax, and he said, "No, it's not Xanax." And they went back and forth about it being Xanax, or whatever the case may be, to the point where Tia let out a shrieking laugh. She then says, can you tell us we don't do drugs?" Then she proceeded to ask if she could have some. He gave her the side eye and she said half of it. A girl needs some help. Now I can't believe Tia is on this show begging this man for some of his meds as if she can't go and get her own meds. And Bet You Know Now says, I'm not quite what to make of Tia's show. She is very emotional. Bet you know now she is emotional, but this is her reality. And I promise you, there's a lot of women that can relate to that. I mean, going through a divorce, there's some things sometimes you can't talk about without getting emotional when it comes to your divorce. You thinking that you're going to be with the person for the rest of your life, and then all of a sudden you find yourself in a divorce. So I can see where that would be an emotional situation. I mean, even if it's not a divorce, there's just some topics that make people very emotional. So then at that point, after he pretty much gave Tia a look like, get your own meds, they got serious and he told Tia that she's been doing hard things her entire life. And it just looks different because she's just doing it, you know, without someone being involved. But he said, actually, you do have someone. You have me and you have Sierra. So even though it looks different, you still have somebody here with you. And they are rocking together. And he said, we got this. So Bet You Know Now also said, do you think she was ready for this level of scrutiny? Absolutely. Bet you know now. I mean, before, she started doing this reality TV show, yes, she did, get a lot of, pushback at first when she announced that she was, going through a divorce. But I think she kind of got used to it because at first she had her notifications on. So every time there would be something posted in the media, she would get a notification. And that was the wrong thing to do. She should not have had those notifications on. This happens every day when you're a celebrity, and you just have to have tougher skin. So I believe at some point she figured that out and she probably turned off those notifications because you just can't read everything that people are going to say about you in the blogs because at the end of the day, that's their job to talk about celebrities. That's how they get paid. So you're no different than anybody else. That's just something that she has to go through. And being that she's pretty much been, an actress since the age of 14, she should kind of be getting used to it at this point. And Bet You Know Now says, right, she was very triggered by the blogs. She was. And it was like every time, they would catch her out, she could be with her assistant. Any man, they assumed that it was somebody that Tia was trying to date, and that just wasn't the case. So that was a little annoying, but at the same time, it was kind of funny because at the end of the day, you know that what the blogs are saying isn't true. So at some point, you just have to move on. So Tia and her Get Right crew, which is Jerome and Sierra, got to work the next day looking for llamas because remember her daughter changed from a princess party and now she wanted to have a party with llamas. So they ended up at a farm, but the problem with that was they found out that the place where they were at, they looked like llamas, but they were actually alpacas, which are similar to llamas. They're in the same family, but they're definitely not a llama. And but now says, I agree. Hey, kicking it with Courtney. Thanks for being here, sis. So they realized that, they went to a farm that, housed alpacas and they were actually looking for llamas. So, llamas and alpacas are both South American camelids. They are related, but have several differences. For example, llamas are generally larger than alpacas. Their appearance, llamas have longer faces and banana shaped ears, while alpacas have shorter spear shaped ears and they're more smushed in the face. Alpaca's hair has a single coat, of soft, fine fleece, while llamas have two coats of coarser hair and undercoat and an extra layer of an overcoat. And personality wise, alpacas are more gentle and shy, while llamas are more confident and brave. And in social behaviors, alpacas are more comfortable in herds, while llamas are more solitary. So llamas are often used as pack animals because they can carry a lot of weight, while alpacas are primarily raised for their fleece, which is sought out by fashion designers. Okay. But if you don't know the difference, which Tia said that she's sure her daughter wouldn't know the difference because she didn't know the difference. And Bet You Know Now is speaking to Courtney. So even though they were at the wrong place, the nice man at the alpaca farm was able to tell them where they could find llamas, but not before the cute little alpacas sneezed on them. One of the alpacas sneezed on them. It caught Sierra on the lip. I was like, "Ooh, that is so nasty." But they went on, and the owner of the alpaca farm did tell them where they could find llamas. So the trio went back to the house to regroup and they decided to divide and conquer. So Sierra was on cake duty, Tia was on balloons, and Jerome was on the bouncy house. By this time, Tia's whole mood had changed and she was on some teamwork makes the dream work type of bull-ish. And she was good to go now. And she had her squad, on board. So this goes back to why you need a village. You need multiple people that you can depend on so that you don't overwhelm that one friend trying to be there for you to support you. So make sure you have multiple friends in your circle, a whole village, because you don't want to burn out that one friend that's always there to support you. So the day finally comes when Tia picks up the jewelry that the jeweler designed for her, from her wedding ring. She wanted to be able to give her daughter her bracelet for her birthday. So if you remember from the last episode, Tia had her wedding ring that had been sitting in the drawer, and she took it to the jeweler and told him that she wanted him to create a bracelet for her daughter and a necklace for her son, being that they were the best thing that came out of her marriage. She wanted to, change her wedding ring into something that they could remember and it would be her gift to them. So not only did this jeweler make a bracelet for her daughter that she can give to her for her birthday and the necklace for her son, but he also made a beautiful necklace for Tia. And of course, like Bet You Know Now, she got emotional again and she was, overwhelmed with tears of joy. So for her to be able to give the pieces to her kids as gifts meant a lot to her. So the birthday party went off without a hitch. They had the Diva Llama, and the llama cake was super cute. After watching this episode, I now have a new love for llamas. Like, I don't know how familiar you guys are with llamas, but they're super cute and they are known to be happy and social. So they are great animals. So I don't know where Tia's daughter Cairo seen the llamas at, but she was very intrigued by the llamas. So once the trio was able to sit down and have a moment, Tia thanked Sierra and Jerome. And of course, like Bet You Know Now said, she got emotional once again. And it just wouldn't be Tia if she didn't shed a tear. That's just who she is. And honestly, like I said, I think everyone has been in a place in their life where they couldn't speak on a particular subject without shedding a tear. So that's just her story. And Bet You Know Now says, the network specialist, what are your thoughts about the reason for the divorce? I personally think, and this is just my opinion, I just think they outgrew each other because the way that she is so emotional, you can just tell that there was still a lot of love there and it wasn't all bad. Sometimes you just grow out of love. I mean, she wasn't allowed to date until she was 18. So as soon as she turned 18, her mother was like, go ahead and threw her out there to date. So, after being with somebody for so long, I believe it was like maybe 22 years, it's just kind of like they're a part of who you are. So even though the relationship isn't working out, it's like losing her best friend. So, I don't know if you've been in a situation where you had a best friend and for whatever reason you guys fell out. It hurts because even though, you guys fell out for whatever reason, I mean, you still love that person. So it's like a breakup. I have personally went through that, just by losing a friend for whatever reason. So I can definitely relate where you're still going to feel some kind of way. And kicking it with Courtney says, I think they just grew apart. So Courtney kind of agreed with me that they just grew apart. And Bet You Know Now says, I agree. I think she is conflicted about the decision to divorce, but she feels that it had to be done. Yes, divorce is a hard decision to make, but at the end of the day, when you have to make that decision, you just have to do what you got to do. And you just have to go through the emotions that you're going to feel. But at the end of the day, there's going to be a light at the end of the tunnel because you get your life back. Okay. So, the night after the party, Tia presented her daughter Cairo with her birthday gift of the bracelet. And of course, she liked the bracelet, but that baby was tapped out and she was ready to go night night, you know. So I love Tia's daughter Cairo. She's the biggest little personality. And like Jerome said, she's feisty just like Tia, but she's super cute and she will say exactly what's on her mind, and you never know what's going to come out of her mouth. So Tia's date is quickly approaching. So her stylist and Sierra, her assistant slash best friend, came over to help her choose an outfit to wear for her date. And thank God they did because, I love Tia, but, Tia kind of gives me that she might miss the mark. Like she might not know how to dress too well. Hey, F Mac, my sis, thank you so much for being here. So they helped her, get her outfit together for her date that was quickly approaching. So date night is here. She meets her Prince Charming. He kind of do a little half spin and pulls out her seat. Tia was nervous as hell, and we expected that. Okay. Tia is always a nervous wreck, so we were definitely expecting that. But she, at the end of the day, she was pleasantly surprised and she's looking like he is her type from the initial response to her blind date. Hey, Aries Girl podcast, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoyed our conversation we had the other night on Braylon's tour. And where was I? So again, he pulled out the chair and she immediately starts doing that nervous laugh thing she does. When she gets nervous, she gets off that weird laugh, but it's just who Tia is. So we're cool with that. And Aries girl said, yes, we had a blast. But it seems like the chemistry was there and the vibe was really nice. Like I really love the whole setting of the date. And I'm not sure if any of you guys are from LA, but they were at a steakhouse called BLVD, if you're familiar with that place. Okay. So let me get back to where I was, and I hope I don't. Okay, so yes, so the date was going really well. After a while, Tia did relax and she got pretty comfortable, with her blind date and everything went well. So then she said, I have to go. I can't stay here all night. I got two kids at home. So she was just like, I have to go. But, she did let him know that she was open, to a second date. So they did exchange numbers. And, he just told her to call me when you get home so that I know that you made it safe. And just from like the smile that he had on his face, I'm pretty sure that he was really into Tia. I don't know if it's because she's a celebrity, because Tia lives in LA and he does live in Rhode Island. I don't know how that's going to be trying to commute from Los Angeles to Rhode Island. Give me a second, guys. But if they are really meant to get, to be together, I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. So I'm just happy to see where this goes for Tia because she truly deserves to find love. Hey, Cricket 22, thank you so much for being here. And Tia was very proud of herself for being open to go on a blind date. And honestly, I was proud of Tia too, because sometimes she get so nervous that she shuts down. But everything is looking good with this guy, and hopefully she will be able to find love, if not with him, with somebody else. But every time you go out on a date, it's like practice. So I just say go on many dates, go on a different day of the week, on a different day every day of the week if you have to, because all that's going to do for you is just, help you to regain your confidence. And you're just going to pretty much get into a flow to know how this goes. And before you know it, you're going to be good at going out on dates, because it is hard after being in a relationship for so long. So it does take some practice. You can't just think that you're going to go out on a couple of dates and you're going to be back into the swing of things. It takes time, just seeing what's out there to see how everybody is moving. Hey, Alf MC, thank you so much for being here, sis. So you really have to just kind of like, get your flow together. Give me 1 second, guys. And Alf MC said, sorry for not speaking earlier. You know you good, sis. Thank you for stopping by. And I'm just clocking out for lunch, guys, because, you know. And Aries Girl Podcast is speaking to everyone. So, guys, put a one in the chat if you have been following Tia Mowry's My Next Act. I have to do this every time because I just have to know how many people can relate to what I'm speaking of. And put a two in the chat if you haven't watched it. I know for Courtney, she's been on the fence. I think Tia is a little too emotional for her. Um, Courtney ain't got time for Tia and all of her emotions. Okay, so it looks like Bet You Know Now might be the only one that has actually watched the show. Guys, it's a great show. It's a great show because I know there's a lot of single women in our little sector. I know, for sure, me and Courtney are single. So, I mean, this show kind of gives you, a look into what's out there, and it gives you ideas on how to date. And Aries Girl Podcast says, too, but I can relate based off of your opinion. Absolutely. And it's really hard to date. And on the last episode, she actually did speed dating, which is something that I would be open to doing. If the opportunity presents itself, I think that's fun. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And I was proud of Tia for stepping out and deciding to do the speed dating things. So, ladies, do you have any tips that you want to share? If you are single and if you are, on your dating journey, do you have any tips to offer us single ladies who might be looking to date sometime in the near future? I know for myself, I love going to the bar by myself. When you go to the bar by yourself and you sit at the bar of course, I mean, that's when you can really meet people because if you go with a group of girls, obviously you're not approachable. Men feel intimidated when you're with a group of girls, but if you're sitting at the bar alone, you know, it's easier for men to want to approach you and start a conversation. And Aries Girl podcast says, I'm happily divorced. Yes, but you are dating Aries Girl, so you should have a lot of tips. I found that out the other night. So you should have some tips. And kicking it with Courtney says, one, I like Tia. She's all over the place though. Yes, Courtney, you are hard on people. But Courtney, I found out something about you last night, girl. I found out that you were kind of checking out some white dudes. And you were on the last live, you were trying to convince me that I need to find me a black man. I think you might be interested in a white guy as well. But you can clarify things. I mean, they described the guy, and the guy that Queen Sheba described kind of reminded me of the Chris that was on the Queen's court, but I could be wrong. And kicking it with Courtney says, don't be afraid to put yourself out there. And Courtney, you kind of touched on it last night. Have you been going out on some dates, girl? You need to spill the tea because you haven't mentioned anything about going on any dates to us. And we're in your membership. We need some tea, girl. And Courtney also said, date, don't settle. Absolutely. That's a great tip, Courtney. And Aries Girl podcast said, date more than one person and let them know you are dating. That's a great tip, Aries Girl podcast, because, that's what I do. I let them know, look, I'm just dating, just getting to know people. Like, I'm in no hurry to settle down and be in a relationship. I'm just getting to know people. And if they seem like they're kind of clingy, trying to tie me down, it's a no for me. That's a red flag for me, and I will block you with the quickness. And Bet You Know Now says, been out the game for 14 years, but yes, I used to sit at the bar alone too. Bet You Know Now, do you know there's a lot of ladies that would never do that? Like they feel that is weird. They would call us Jerome, Tia's cousin slash bestie. He does this thing where he be like, you weirdo. He always calls Tia weird. It is so freaking cute. He's like, you weirdo. But yes, people think you're weird when you go to the bar alone and sit at the bar. And Aries Girl podcast said, date all races. I sure do. Don't limit yourself. Well, Aries Girl podcast, that's something that we have in common. And I share that a lot on my channel, that I am open to all races. I'm not going to just settle for dating, a black man. I'm open to all races. And Cece said, hi, the network specialist and everyone. I caught a live. Yay. You sure did, Cece. And thank you so much for being here. Love myself some you. And Courtney says, no queen was playing. I don't have an interest. I simply said he was cute. Okay, okay. So Courtney says she ain't into the white man. And she said, laugh out loud. No, I need to though. Yes, even I mean, Queen Sheba, we all know that she's married to a Latino, but she made it very clear that she's open to other races as well. And so did Aset Noir. I think that's what she was kind of getting at. I think she's also open to other races. And Cece is speaking. And Aries Girl podcast says, sports bars are the best to me. I love football and basketball. I love sports bars as well, Aries girl, but I'm not that into sports. And if I would be into sports, it would definitely be basketball because that's the type of man I'm attracted to. Like, I need my man to be at least 6 feet, even taller if possible. My kid's father is 6'2", and my sons, I have two sons that are over 6 feet. Um, so I like the tall, slender type. like this guy who Tia went on a date with. I love, love, love tall, slender men. Now, don't get me wrong, I mean, I am open to, a teddy bear. I never dated one, but I can see myself, dating a guy that's kind of like a big teddy bear. Like I said, I keep my options open. It's all about how he treats me, you know. So you can't really go by appearances. I know some people, they're really into looks. Like I have a sister, she's really into looks. I'm not that person because when you go after, like, I ain't got time for somebody who's going to be in the mirror more than me. And I don't have time for somebody that I got to be running behind because, he's all up in everybody's face because he think he look good. I ain't got time. And Courtney says, wait a minute. Bet you know now says, girl, why? Free meals, drinks, and combos. Sign me up. Sign me up when I was single. Um, I'm not sure, but what you're referring to because I told you I am open, open, open. Oh, maybe you're saying that if they start getting clingy, I'm not really sure. Elaborate for me on that, bet. And Courtney says, I encourage women to do what suits them. I love a black man. I know it's some good ones out there. There is. And if I have to say so myself, if I did find a black man, he would definitely be a dark skinned black man because that is what I'm attracted to. And Cece said, I've been married a long time. I don't think I know how to date again. Shudders. Okay, well, as long as you're still happily married, Cece, that's something you don't have to worry about. It's us single girls out here that has to worry about dating. And Bet You Know says, oh no, the sports bar were too much when I was dating. I used to like upscale restaurant bars in the city. Okay, now you talking, Bet You Know now. That's kind of what I like. I like upscale bars. I like jazz, those type of sceneries. I like what do you call them? Wineries. Love wineries. Yes. Hey, Simone Wealthy. She says, yes, come through for the tall, slender 6 feet. Yes, honey. And it would be nice if he had big feet too, Simone Wealthy. And Bet You Know Now said, Cece, I think dating would get on my nerves now. And let me say this, since Cece said that she is married. Now, if you're married, but you're not happily married, practice dating with your husband before you bow out. Make sure that you kind of practice, with your husband, just so if things are not working out, you know what to do moving forward. And Simone Wealthy says, good afternoon, the network specialist, CC and chat. And Courtney said, it would, Bet you know now, it gets on my nerves. What gets on your nerves, Courtney? Dating gets on your nerves. I love dating, actually. And Eric's Girl Podcast says, date your husband, CC. Yes. Yeah, start dating them. And Cece said, at the network specialist, my mom has been a widow for 7 years now. I was going to ask her if she wants to date, but I know the answer is no. Well, how old is your mom? I mean, not that it matters. It's never too late for love, you know? And maybe you should just get her out the house. I mean, you might even she can meet a man just by going out with you. I mean, it's never too late. I mean, she might want companionship. So I would definitely encourage her to date and just get her out the house. Maybe she'll just run into a nice man that, if nothing else, can provide companionship. Because when you're older, that's pretty much all you need is companionship. Dating. Okay, so dating gets on Courtney's nerve. Do you got any recent experiences, Courtney? Have you dated recently? And Cece said, Aries Girl Podcast, I date my husband when it's not football season. Okay. Yes, that football season have them tied up. And Cece, does your husband still hang out with his friends, or is he kind of past that stage, or how does that play into your relationship? Because honestly, I've never dated a man that's really into sports. Although my ex played semi-professional basketball, he was 6 feet. Um, I don't feel like we were always watching sports. I think he was the type of person that would catch the highlights or whatever the case may be. And most of my, relationships, that's pretty much what it was. They would catch the highlights, but it was not like I couldn't get any attention because they were always watching sports. That would get on my last nerve. Okay. And me and Aries girl, we were talking the other night, and one thing for me, if a guy mentions that he plays video games, that's a red flag for me. It's a no for me, and I'm out. Like, I mean, to each his own, no judgment. But as for me and my dating, I will not be dating any man who plays video games. It's just not my thing. And Bet You Know Now says dating my hubby is always fun. Okay. So do you guys kind of go out and like what does dating look like for you and your husband, Bet You Know Now? And Aries Girl said, I understand. I'm glued to the TV when football is on, college and pro. My man has to understand. Okay, so you're the big, sports fanatic in the relationship. Okay, I mean, you should be every man's dream because, hey, they got somebody they can watch sports with, they can hang out, go to the bar with, and do, a little something behind closed doors with. So I'm pretty sure that that's a plus for you. And Bet You Know Now says, you better say that football season has my hubby in a headlock, child. The date schedule is around his team. OMG. And she said, Madden equals red flags. Yes, girl. Mm-mm-mm. And Cece said, my husband and his childhood friends, my brothers and two cousins rotate going to each other's homes to watch football. It's fine. I just know Monday, Thursday, Sunday is football. I'm invited, but I'm good. So during that time on Monday, Thursdays, and Sunday, do you ever hang out with your girlfriends or do you just kind of stay at home, Cece? And Bet You Know Now says we like museums and good food. Yes, museums are nice. And even though I haven't been, well, I take that back. I have been on a date at SeaWorld, but I love, 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 zoos, animals, love animals. I can go to SeaWorld or a zoo every week. I even go to zoos when I'm out of town. And Simone Wealthy said, I'm down for all races of men. At this point in my life, I'm not giving black men priority anymore. I'm with you when you're right, girl. I have to be treated a certain way. And unfortunately, the black men I've come across are failing. Yes, I feel the same way, Simone Wealthy. And Aries Girl said, guys love that I love sports. Yes, that is awesome. And do you also drink beer, Aries Girl? I'm not a beer drinker, but when I'm hanging out with my guy, I'll have a beer or two just to kind of like, be down with my guy. And FMC said, talk to you later, running into the doctor's appointments. I'll do a replay to hear the remainder of this live stream. Have a great afternoon, ladies. Thank you so much for being here, FMC. And you better come back, girl, because I've been missing you. And Bet You Know says we like going to museums, good food when we're in the city, but enjoy traveling when school is out. Okay. Okay. So it seems like you guys have a very well-rounded relationship. That's awesome. And Simone says, oh yeah, they start talking about video games too much. It's a red flag. Thank God that has not been my issue. And Aries girl said, I will cook a good football meal for my man. My man, my man, my man. Girl, I ain't mad at you. Aries girl, I can see you know how to take care of your man. I can just tell. Yes, honey. I'm pretty sure your man is very happy with you because you know how to do all the right things. For some women, it takes a little work. But one thing about me, I am very domesticated, okay? And I don't love to cook, but I cook really well. And I love Pinterest. I like cooking from recipes off of Pinterest. I like trying new things. And when I cook, I kind of cook from the heart. So if I'm not in good spirits, I don't cook because, I have to be in the mood to cook. But I get excited when I'm going to cook something that I've never cooked before. And she said, yes, Simone, about the video games, I'm assuming. And she said, beer, bourbon, wine, vodka. I love it. Oh, okay. Okay, you my type of girl. We could probably hang out and have some fun because I am a party girl. Love to have fun. And Simone says, I'm going to the opera next month. I'm going to see what's going on in that atmosphere with men. Oh, okay. So, Simone, it sounds like you like to step outside of your comfort zone. That's awesome. I've never been to an opera. I'm not opposed to it, but I've just never been to an opera. So, that would definitely be something new for me. And Cece says, I hang out whenever I feel like it. So, no issues there. I welcome someone alone time. Okay, so you welcome alone time too. I get my Seventh Avenue scrub and oil down, then a glass of vino. What's vino? I know it's something that I'm just missing. Okay. So I love alone time too. I love my me time because I've always been a social butterfly. So I've always been on the scene. So once I realized just how amazing me time is, I am so all over it. Uh-oh, getting a little behind. Give me 1 second. And There's Girl podcast says, I love to cook. I can taste something and replicate it. So you be over there doing those, what do they call them when you replicate like something at a restaurant? I forget the name. But yes, I do that as well, Aries girl. And Cece said, I try to stay away from the rabbit hole I get stuck in when I look at recipes on Pinterest. No, no, you just kind of if something pops into your mind and you just go Google different, recipes on whatever you have the taste for. And Aries said, Simone, I love plays and operas. That's something I have to maybe try next. And Simone says, oh my God, I feel the same way, the network specialist. I've got to be in the mood to cook because I throw down in the kitchen, okay? But it's only when we're in that mood because I cook from my heart, my soul. I cook with love. So, I have to be in the mood to cook. Like if I'm having a bad day or if I'm not in the best moods, I don't cook because my food is not going to turn out right. And Aries girl says, yes, Vino. What's Vino, Aries girl? Vino. I'm trying to think. I know it's something simple that I just can't think of right now. Vino is a type of wine. Okay, so I love red wine, like Pinot Grigio. I'm sorry, not Pinot Grigio, that's a white wine. Pinot Noir. I like what else? There's a good cheap red wine called Apothic Red, because I like red blends. So if I want save a couple of dollars, I will drink some Apothic Red. But other than that, Pinot Noir and Vino is a wine. Okay, I never heard of that. I'm gonna have to look that up because I'm always researching different wines. Now, my sister, on the other hand, she loves very expensive bottles of wine. Like it's whatever you like to spend your money on, but I'm not gonna spend $150 on a bottle of wine. That's just me. Not judging anybody who does, but I just think it's such a waste. There's so many other things I can do with my money, but to each his own. Everybody has their little quirks. I mean, I spent $335, I'm not even sure, on 7th Avenue. So, of course, I can't look at her sideways for spending $150 on some wine if that's what she likes. I like skincare. You know, I'm also obsessed with cleaning products. Like, I love like cleaning products, like weird stuff like that. So I spend a lot of money because I think you should have everything you need to make sure that your house is clean. So I spend a lot of money on that as well. So you just never know what people, spend their money on, and it's totally okay. I mean, hey, everybody has different hobbies and things like that. But yeah. So yes, I love wine, but what I try to do is just kind of rotate. Sometimes I drink wine, sometimes I might have a margarita, and then sometimes, not that often, because I try to stay away from actual liquors, but sometimes, I do like to engage in Crown Royal vanilla with Coke. For me, that is something about that taste. Now, there are some other, my go-to used to be Grey Goose. That was always my favorite, with Red Bull, but I kind of stopped drinking that because I don't want to get caught up in the Red Bulls. They are so unhealthy for you. I think Kevin Samuels had, and I know you guys know who that is. He had an addiction to Red Bulls, and that could have had something to do with his early demise. So you definitely want to stay away from Red Bull. It's not healthy for you. Plus, the next day, you kind of have that crash effect, you know. But yes, I used to love me some Grey Goose and Ciroc. But every couple of years, I like to switch from vodka and white liquor to a dark liquor because at some point you kind of get immune to it. So you have to kind of switch it up every so often. Yes. So, guys, I know most of you have not seen Tia's My Next Act. You guys need to go binge watch, get caught up, so you're ready for episode 4, which is coming on Friday. So go watch Tia Mowry's show. I mean, you're gonna like the show. She has an amazing group of friends, a great village support system, whatever you want to call it. And, you know, it's also good to see what that needs to look like because if you don't have friends like Tia in your life, you need to probably work on that. So, you know, I have really enjoyed watching the show. Outside of Tia being emotional, that doesn't bother me. That means that she's just a very genuine, loving person. When you're an empath, which I can believe that Tia is. You soak up other people's energy. You're very emotional. And I'm the type, I can hear a sad story and almost be brought to tears. I can remember a time when I went to a funeral of a classmate when I was going to college. Um, and I didn't know him that long. He used to tutor me, and he just all of a sudden died. He was only maybe 18, 19 years old. So I had to travel to go to the funeral. And when I got to that funeral, like I said, I didn't know this guy very well, just from school, but it was so funny because I wasn't going to school at that point anymore. And I ran into him riding a bike just on the side of a road. And I pulled over, said hello, and it was like 2 weeks later, and he was gone. And I even had a it wasn't a birthday party, it was some type of party at my house. And him and some of my classmates came to the party. And I just felt like, man, if it was just something I could have said to this young man, because I was much older, I just wish that I had the opportunity to talk to him and maybe I could have said something to him to maybe keep him from doing what he did because ultimately he committed suicide. And that was really sad. I did miss some comments. And Cece said, I used to be in an opera club for school. I got easy credits for it and I enjoyed the operas. Oh, okay. So you guys probably like Michelle because she's a country singer and she actually got a scholarship for yodeling. Vino is another name for wine. Oh, okay. I just learned something. And Cece said, I love opera music. Okay. I haven't been able to get into it, but I need to try because I really do love all types of music. And Cece said, I can't name any operas, but I'm drawn to it. Okay. At least you think outside the box. And Aries girl said, I love a cheap wine called Cafe Zinfandel by Gallo Wines. Okay. And they kept talking about what was the name of the wine they kept talking about last night? I know I've had it before, but I'm going to have to try it again. That Courtney, they were drinking on the Queenie show last night. And Cece said, try operas. I like The Color Purple, The Lion King, Porgy and Bess, Hell's Kitchen to dip your toe. Okay. Well, first I gotta find a date that might not mind taking me to an opera or a play. And Cece said, Simone Wealthy, my daughter got hooked when she was younger after seeing Wicked. And see, that's another thing. I don't have any small kids. All of my kids are in their 30s. And Simone said Crown Royal Vanilla is good in coffee. Really? Girl, don't have me drinking first thing in the morning now on the weekends. Because I love me a good old mimosa. She said, I love tequila. Me too. I like margaritas. Now, one that I can't do is Patron. I got so sick from Patron. I said never again. And Cece said my son turned my husband into Uncle Nearest whiskey. He says it's so smooth. It's is black owned. Uncle Nearest is the black man Jim Beam store his recipe from. It won the best in class last year. Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up. I'm gonna have to write that down. Uncle Nearest. Girl, I'm always trying new stuff. Okay, so I wrote that down to check that out later. And Erin says, I will look for Uncle Nearest then. And Cece said, Simone Wealthy, if I have a long overnight flight, I drink amaretto in coffee. It's tasty and will put me to sleep. I can't sleep on a flight. I mean, I try, but it's just too much going on around me. I just can't do it. And Simone says, oh, wow, that is heavy. Some people hide their depression well. Huh. Now, I don't know what you're referring to, Simone. And Aries said orange bourbon and coffee. Oh my goodness. I used to like that cask and cream. That's kind of something that you put in coffee as well. But yes, sometimes I'm afraid to try different liqueurs, especially bourbon, because I just think that my stomach is not meant for that type. Because sometimes I have issues with the stomach, so I'm very afraid. And for some of you that do drink and sometimes you're worried that it might irritate your stomach, if I know I'm trying something new, I'll take a Pepsi AC like right before I start drinking and I am totally fine. No issues. So if you sometimes, have a tummy ache after you drink, make sure you take a Pepcid AC before you start to drink. I personally take Pepcid AC anyway, just for my stomach issues. But I have a family member that takes it before she drinks. So she takes it kind of for a different reason, and that keeps her from having issues. Because some people, they can actually switch up once I start drinking one thing, I don't switch up. So if you are the type person that likes to switch up, make sure you take maybe a Pepcid AC so that you don't have any issues. My stomach can't handle that unless it's something very light, like maybe a mimosa around lunchtime, like around noon, and then maybe I switch to maybe a margarita later on that night. That's pretty much it. And Cece said, I brought a cinnamon cream liqueur once and put it in coffee. Chef's kiss. Oh, that would be good. And Bet You Know Now says, thanks for the tip, TNS. Absolutely. I want us to be good at all times. And we know we like to get our drink on, so we got to make sure we're good. And Simone said, the young man who you tutored and he later committed is who I was referring to. Oh, okay, about depression. Yes. And honestly, I think that while we were in school, we were going to DeVry. Um, I think he met a guy that he was dating, of another race. It was a white guy. And I think that the guy kind of outed him and just started treating him badly when he didn't want to date him anymore. And I think it was the church where they had their funeral. It was a church that the preacher or the person that did the funeral was a woman, and it was actually a same-sex church. So I believe his mom was also in a same-sex relationship. So he was totally, it wasn't anything new to him, but um, the way he did it, it was really sad because while everybody went home for the weekend, I think it was Thanksgiving, holidays. He stayed back. He didn't go home to visit his mom. He stayed back. He packed up all of his stuff. You know how some apartments have those garages that are like off-site or they're not inside of your apartment? He had an apartment that had a garage somewhere on the premises. He put all of his stuff in that garage and he did it using a bag in the laundry room. So everything was left clean. There was nothing, there was no reason for his mom to have to go back inside of the house to gather his things. I mean, even when this man decided to do what he did, he was obviously considering the person that would find him and also his mom. So that was so thoughtful of him, even though it was really sad. Like, I have never seen anybody do that. He packed up all of his belongings, put them in the garage outside of his apartment, and did it in the laundry room so that it wouldn't disturb or for the next person that maybe had to sleep in the room. Because, sometimes you hear stories and some people don't feel comfortable staying in a place where somebody has passed away. So he was very thoughtful, even, when he decided to take his own life. So, yeah. But yeah, that was really sad. I mean, so young. This guy was so smart. We used to have to do commercials, as a group, as some of our homework assignments. And I knew that if I teamed up with him and collaborated with him, you know, we were going to get a good grade because he was super, super smart. And I could just see this guy doing some amazing things and having an awesome career. And Cece said, that is so sad. Poor young man. He did all that work knowing that he had, what he had in mind. Exactly. Because he had to be thinking about it the whole entire time. Wow. That's incredibly sad. Yes. And that's why when I was at the funeral, I mean, I was like crying out loud. I could not stop crying. And I know people were looking at me, well, like, you didn't really know him that well. Like, I don't have to know you well to feel, sympathy for the situation. You know, that's a part of being an empath. And Cece said, that is so sad, poor young man. Okay, yeah, I already read that. So, ladies, I am going to get out of here. I hope I have not went past my lunch break because I did take my lunch while since I've been on this live. I thank you, ladies, so much for joining me. Don't forget to hit that like button and have a great rest of your day. And bye for now.